Hannah, a new caller in the southeast. Hello. I understand you're a paediatric nurse, so this must affect you very much, this story.
Yeah, hi Sangita. I've been a paediatric nurse for 10 years this year now, qualified 13 years in the NHS. And it's just absolutely abhorrent to think that somebody within the profession would harm and do the harm that has been done to these infants and their families, and it's just unthinkable. What I would like to share is that a few years back in my own organisation, I raised a safeguarding concern regarding a colleague and their practice, and it was via the appropriate channels. There's a system called day texting within NHS organisations, which is a system that is used to escalate misses or near misses, and potentially the purpose of it is to review the practice and what's happened and see where the lessons can be learned. What I can say is when I did, appropriately raise this concern, was that I received a number of phone calls from this person's manager, who was extremely cross with me for raising this concern, and how dare I do that. I then was called into a couple of meetings with senior management and had the best part of a dressing down, and asked why on earth I thought I was in a position to raise this concern, and that basically I need to shut up and go away, and just shut up. And that was the way it was.
Was there anyone else that you could speak to that you felt was independent that would give you a hearing?
Yeah, so obviously the term whistleblowing is now organisations have changed. It's trying to change the culture, and they're called Speak Up Guardians or Freedom to Speak Up Guardians, which are integrated into each trust. But this is one individual potentially that is employed to cover a whole organisation. And when you're the individual that is raising these concerns or, sharing a worry that you may have, it's a very isolating place to be professionally. And it does affect your whole sort of perception of how colleagues perceive you, how you're treated, how you're trusted, how you're spoken to, what workload you're given, what shifts you're given. So there's a massive impact, and people are frightened, people are scared, and rightly so, because the culture there is not to support that individual. It's to protect the organisation.
What happened to this person about whom you had very serious concerns and the care that they were delivering? Did they remain in their job? Were you...
Yes. Yep, they're still in post now.
That must just be galling, Hannah.
Yeah.
Have there been any further complaints about this person since? Do you know?
I don't know. I left the organisation quite quickly after, because I then felt that I had, senior management sort of breathing down my neck, so to speak, and looking at everything I was doing because I'd raised concerns about somebody that was also slightly more senior than I was.
Having gone through that, Hannah, presumably you can see how Letby was allowed to function.
Yes.
For so long, for so many years.
Yeah. And I don't think, due to the staffing crisis, the nursing and the midwifery and, where we are as a profession, managers don't want employees going off because of, stress or other issues and things. So they're looking at it from a perspective of they have a service to run and a service to provide, and they need the staff. So having members of staff go off or be, in some way redistributed like Lucy Letby was, because she went into an administrative role, didn't she, offer clinical work when concerns continued to be raised. That is not ideal for management when there are staffing issues and staffing crises and you can't cover shifts.
Having been through what you've been through, you're a paediatric nurse, you raised concerns about another member of staff and the treatment that they were doling out. You felt forced to leave the organisation because you felt essentially blacklisted.
Yes.
If this happened again, if you saw another member of staff potentially endangering patients, given the way you were treated the first time, would you feel confident to raise the matter again?
Yes, I would, because, we are regulated by a professional body. We adhere to a code of conduct, and with more experience under my belt, I am very clear in our professional role and responsibilities, and that is to provide care and to do no harm. We all take an oath, nurses, midwives, doctors, we take an oath to do no harm. And that is the absolute crux of everything within our profession.
Like you, I was watching the doctors yesterday on television and they looked crushed, Hannah. They'd finally managed to get her off the wards, but they looked broken.
Yeah,
Can you relate to that?
Not on that level. I don't think. I haven't experienced that in my professional career individually, but I can relate to that feeling of, thank God, they've gone. It's over. We've done something to protect our patients and those in our care.
We've got yet another public inquiry on the way.
Yeah.
Is there a faster, more expedient, more sensible fix? Somebody was suggesting to me yesterday CCTV, for example, in neonatal units. I actually think there needs to be a fundamental change in workplace culture. Is there anything, given what you've been through, that you could suggest?
I think supervision is a massive part of professional regulatory, clinical supervision, management supervision, safeguarding supervision. It holds such a valuable place within teams, within departments and organisations. And I also think, there needs to be an external body, a completely neutral, unbiased individual that can work within organisations that doesn't have the types of ties of personal, professional relationships to be able to determine, when there are potential risks and concerns about colleagues.
Hannah, do you think that there's a risk something like this could happen again somewhere at some hospital trust?
Always. Maybe not to the extent of Lucy Letby